Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Racing with Ryan podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Stevens. Got a quick show for you here today as my weekend did not go as planned as far as racing goes, but hey, I guess that's the way it goes sometimes. I was planning to get out to the Auburndale Speedway for the first time in a long time. I was going to bring the girlfriend and her kids out there to enjoy what looked like a rather laid-back evening of racing action. I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to head down there for what on paper looked like a quick but fun show and get back home at a decent hour. But Mother Nature, not even Mother Nature, just the world itself said, nope, not this weekend. That is not happening. As I'm sure you've all seen the Facebook posts and screenshots and this and that, but their light system literally caught on fire during Friday night practice. So they did not race on Saturday, so we did not make it to the Speedway. So I was hoping to have a little bit of Auburndale Speedway to talk about and kind of fill in the show. But like I said, the world had other plans, and I will say still ended up having a wonderful weekend. But with that said, the show has to pivot a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of the events that went down. Nothing super in-depth, but we'll talk about some of the local stuff, and then take a look at the weekend in Kansas that maybe left a little to be desired, but still was interesting enough to give us plenty to talk about. So that is what we will talk about on this week's show. But first, I must thank our sponsors, including our friends at Paramount Medical Billing, F&F Racing. We thank Ken Copley as well, Do All Lawn and Tree, and the Splish and Splash Swim Program. My girlfriend Tiffany is currently booking swim lessons in the Orlando area. So if you have somebody that, needs to learn how to swim, she taught my daughter last year, did an amazing job. We will be going back this summer for more lessons. But yeah, if you need swim lessons at a very reasonable price and you're in the Orlando area, please let me know. I will hook you up. And we're also opening she is, I'm just helping. She's opened up a foundation where we'll be taking some donations to help those that maybe can't afford swim lessons teach their kids how to swim. Drowning, it happens. Unfortunately, not too long ago, close to home, a young kid drowned in a pool. So we're trying to do the Lord's work, if you will, I guess. And we've just opened up a foundation. We're just rolling it out. It's getting its legs. But, hey, if you're not in the Orlando area and you're listening to this and you want to help gift some swim lessons to those who can't afford it or donate to the cause, we can get you set up with that as well. I know that'd be a big help. And, it's a really good cause. So anyway, that's something we took care of this weekend too, getting the bank account opened for that foundation and all of that. I'm very excited for her. She'll be doing swim lessons and swim a lot this summer. She'll be putting a big focus on it. So let me know if you know anyone that needs lessons. I can hook you up if you want to donate to the foundation. That'd be a huge start to kind of help get us up and running, try to get some kids in there and try to help some families in need. I think it's a super cool thing that she's doing. And I just wanted to take a moment, get that message out there. We'll have more info on it probably by next week's show. But, the foundation is official through Sunbiz and all of that. She's done a great job taking care of all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And I just wanted to shout that out. And I'm very proud of what she does, and she does an amazing job. So, again, if you need swim lessons or if you want to help donate to the foundation, please let me know. I will get you in touch with Tiffany, and she'll. I'm telling you, she'll do an amazing job. Real quick story. Last year, when I met her, and she mentioned that she was a swim instructor. No lie, I was looking to get Peyton into swim lessons during the summer, and I met the right person. And it was Peyton's first bit of because she had been with me. I worked from home. I took care of her by myself for the most part, and it was her first bit of instruction. Okay, somebody else is telling you something you need to do, and I wasn't sure how she was going to handle it. And I'll tell you, first of all, Peyton did an amazing job. But second of all, Tiffany was so wonderful with her. Within the first 5 minutes of the first lesson, Peyton felt comfortable and was doing all that was asked. So if you need any more convincing, Tiffany's also a school teacher by day. So she's very good with kids, very easygoing, soft-spoken, sweet, and just cherishes what she does. So add spotlight of the week, the Splish and Splash swim program in the Make a Splash Foundation of Central Florida. I'll be pushing that a lot here over the summer. And just reach out and let me know if any of that sounds useful for you or you'd like to donate to the foundation. All right, so racing action here. Let's start. We're gonna go local real quick. This is not gonna be in depth. I just want to mention on what went down at the Freedom Factory with the UARA series. I really don't know the ins and outs. If there's drama, I didn't hear much about it. But I do want to shout out the winners here real quick, as it looks like they had a really nice show. Great turnout of cars anyway. Let's see. Weston Freeman won the Allison Legacy cars. In the Pure Stocks, Doug Miller was the feature winner there. They had 24 sportsmen. I cannot find the full results, although I will admit I didn't look all that hard. But if I can't find it on the main website, that's a problem. Let's see. They had 30 Crown Vics in the feature, which I believe Zachary Curtis won that one, and to no surprise. And Brandon Morris was the official sportsman feature winner. So Cody Struble second, Dylan Bigley third for the sportsman, which was the main attraction. And then Zach Curtis, the winner after post-race tech. Like I said a few weeks ago, he always finds a way to get the money. Another track that I want to take a quick moment to talk about, Citrus County Speedway. They were in action, and the reason I want to talk about them is Zachariah Cartledge, who messaged. He has been messaging me, which is why I think I said that, who announced with me a few weeks ago for his first announcing gig, ended up picking up the gig over there at Citrus County. He just sent a message, just like I did, 11 years ago, and said, hey, I'm available if you guys have any openings. And they told him to come on out, and he went out and did a great job. So I have Citrus County on the mind and want to give Zachariah a shout out because he's going to be over there as much as possible. And did a little bit of racing. Let's see. The beginner Ford Outlaw win went to Mason Welter. Citrus late models, which they had 11 of, which is pretty cool. Ricky Anderson was the winner over Wayne Anderson and Larry Welter. AJ Waller, Randy Anderson was the top 5 there. Those Citrus late models are pretty cool. They let them have the wings on there and the side skirts and the side panels and this and that. It's pretty cool. Definitely a cool idea. Mini stocks were in action. Brian Poughton won that one. Let's see. Pro Bandolero feature, that went to Owen Welter. Pro Ford Outlaw, wow, they only had 6. The rest of them were all down at Freedom Factory. Clint Hicks was the winner there. Pro Outlaw Figure 8 went to Michael Cherry. And I guess this is the actual Citrus late model feature. I think I looked at qualifying earlier. My apologies. Randy Anderson was the winner over Wayne Anderson and Ricky Anderson. I thought I saw the Anderson swept the thing. Yes, I looked at qualifying earlier. That's my fault. Fast time for the Citrus late models, if you're wondering, was a 13.799. Ricky Anderson, your fast qualifier. So there's a quick breeze through of the local racing action. I know there's some other tracks in action, but I just picked a couple to highlight. I was hoping to, again, talk about Auburndale Speedway here. But again, the lights caught on fire. I haven't made it out to Auburndale in a while, not because I don't want to or there's any kind of beef. For those of you that know, I do the Hot Mic show with Steve when he's available when it's not tax season, and Matt, who's usually available. We've had some more off weekends this year. Just a lot of us are busy, and I've been looking forward to getting back out to Auburndale. But my weekends, if I'm not at the track, I've been busy doing some other things, and this weekend just aligned to where I asked my girlfriend Tiffany if we could take the kids out there and go do something different. And Saturday night or Friday night, I got the word that they had canceled because of the lights, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" So we'll make it back out to Auburndale. Shout out to them; they moved some of their truck races around that conflicted with the New Smyrna schedule. I had heard at the end of last year there was a lot that did conflict, and appreciate them taking a second look at that. And they've been very flexible this year, and I got to give them kudos for that. I think in the past we have moved some things around. I don't think people are too worried about us anymore, but it's nice. I'd love to see, hey, we got a combination of Auburndale and New Smyrna trucks here at New Smyrna tonight and then over at New Smyrna the next week. I'd love to see that back and forth. I know they're different tracks. I know we're Hoosier. They're American Racer. It costs more. It pays this. It doesn't pay that. I'm tired of hearing about all that stuff. If, people are going to go race at their home tracks, they're going to go race at the track they want. It's just nice when the option is open to where you don't have to choose. I'd love to see our guys, Grayson Greaves, Nick Provost, and Dalton Smith, Becca Monopoly, not have to pick where they want to go. But, hey, trucks are racing somewhere this weekend. Let's go be a part of it. And I appreciate that. So I just want to give that a call out as well. So to wrap up local racing, Orange Blossom Super Late Model 100 coming up here this weekend at the New Smyrna Speedway. I don't have a whole lot of news on that event at this time. I am recording a little bit earlier in the week. My schedule this week is such that I decided tonight was a better night to record than my usual recording night. So you have to bear with me on that. Hopefully we'll have more information and all the stuff that everybody wants to hear. But, yeah, we'll see what we get for the super late models this weekend. Brad May will be there. Who do we have for locals anymore? I really don't even know. So we'll see who shows up. I think there's like an ASA race this weekend, so some of the big stars aren't going to travel down here for sure. But it is what it is. We'll see what we get. We'll have fun with it. Pro Trucks also on the schedule, along with Super Stocks, Bomber A, and Ground Pounders. So after another week off, our season has been so start and stop. Not to say that we don't have a rhythm. Like, our races have been fun, but man, it's going to be nice when we get into the month of May and have races. We got 3 in a row here coming up, so it'd be nice to get some momentum on our plate here and move forward. So the Orange Blossom Super Late Model 100 this weekend at New Smyrna. We'll be back next week to recap that and whatever else is going on in the NASCAR world. But speaking of the NASCAR world, NASCAR was in Kansas this weekend, which has, over the past several years, been one of the, most entertaining mile-and-a-half tracks. It's got the closest finish in NASCAR history just 2 years ago with Larson and Buescher. I always look forward to the mile-and-a-half races with this car. And this one, I don't want to say it didn't deliver, because at the end of the day, like, we got some excitement, but it took until 2 to go to kind of get there. It was a slow burn for sure. I'm just looking at some stats here, and we'll talk about the winner of the race here in a bit, but it's just very interesting the way the numbers lay this season. Real quick, though, we'll talk about the Xfinity. I did it again. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series that raced on Saturday. ARCA also raced. Gio Ruggiero won that over Daniel Dye, who made his return to racing after resigning from his truck ride after a big screw-up there. As he quoted himself, he was an idiot. And I got to say, when you're in that high profile of a situation and you say stupid things, you win stupid prizes. And I don't know. I feel like he's had some missteps in the past, and this one's going to be tough for him to bounce back, because I don't think he's going to have many people in his corner at this point at all. So, Xfinity. How about lap number 2? We get the slide. I forget even who it was, but somebody was sliding through 1 and 2, and then we got the jump cut of the season when they cut to the one of Travis Kawapel, who is upside down on the back straightaway. And, I after church on Sunday, I put the race on, because there's always some snacks and fellowship after the service, and I was sitting down to eat, and I just put the race on my phone, and I got through the commercials and the pace laps, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I walked into the bathroom and I got my phone in my hand and watching the first lap, and literally was like, oh my goodness, what a crazy situation, as I'm in the bathroom trying to finish up there, and I got a car flipping on lap 2 at Kansas. So, and since it was that jump cut, it was like, okay, I cannot wait to see how this happened. And I appreciate what the CW did. They waited until we knew that Quapple was okay before they showed any kind of replay. And I was shocked. I thought it was one of those, like, car got turned, hit him in the left rear, and he did a grip flip kind of flip. But this was he got hooked and went up into the wall, and Parker Retzlaff was right there, got into his rear end and lifted him off the ground. And boy, the air is violent when you're going that fast. I mean, if you watch the replay, there's that one, like, long shot, like, from, like, parallel to the back straightaway. And you see the car lift up, turn to the wind, and the wind whips the back end of the car and blows the TV panel, the back bumper cover, if you will, off the car and flips it over violently. I mean, that was all air. And I showed the wreck to my girlfriend's boys because they like seeing wrecks and stuff. They're 7 and 9 years old. Who didn't like watching wrecks when they're that age? But yeah, they're like, man, how did that happen? How did that car get like that? I'm like, well, it hit the wall, got a little bit of air into the car, and then it got hit by the other car pushing the air, and the air blew it over. The physics were just right for that to happen. And I was telling them how very rare it is for a car to flip, especially in that nature. Flips are rare in NASCAR, and I think that's what makes them so spectacular. And this was just a perfect storm type situation. He got hit in the right spot. He was, the wind, I don't know what the wind was, but it was strong enough down the back straightaway to get under that car and flop him right over. So there you go. Definitely a wild incident. Another big incident in the Xfinity race. Austin Hill got spun out, collected William Sawalich and ended his day. And Austin was not too happy with his teammate for racing him that way, but it was a pretty entertaining Xfinity race. And oh man, I didn't pull up the results for that, and the winner is escaping me. Hang on a second. Let me go back and see the results here from Kansas Speedway. Oh yeah, that's right. Taylor Gray picked up the win for his first win of the season. So that was pretty cool. He picked up the win over Sheldon Creed, who finished second for like the 93rd time in his career. Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love, Brent Cruz, your top 5. Byron Cole Custer in the 0 had a good run. Jones and Mayer and Sieg, your top 10 there in a pretty entertaining Xfinity race. So with that in the books there, let's talk about this Kansas Cup race. For the racing purist, this is about as pure a race as you'll get. It was dominated by pretty much 2 guys. Denny Hamlin got out to the lead early. He and Reddick had a nice little battle off the start of the race, swapped the lead back and forth a couple of times. And let's see. Hamlin would take control and pretty much dominate stage 1, which went caution-free. And then after pit stops in stage number 2, Kyle Larson would take control of the race and lead, 7 to 8 laps on the day and win stage 2. So Hamlin won stage 1. Larson finished second in stage 1. And then Reddick was third in stage 1. And then in stage 2, it was Larson who won it, Hamlin in second, and Tyler Reddick third. So those guys are up near the front for much of the race. Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell were up there for a lot of the race as well. The first 2 stages, clean and green, no cautions for cause. I kind of did this little prediction right before they went green. I said there was going to be 6 cautions for cause on the day, and I completely miffed on that one for sure. Stage 3. So I'm like, okay, the first 2 stages, honestly, if the first 2 stages go clean and green, I'm not upset about that. I kind of like it when they save the good stuff for the end. I don't mind a slow burn, but this one was it was almost a burn that didn't catch fire. And but I'll tell you, coming down to the end of this thing with a couple laps to go, we'll just cut to the last pit cycle. Christopher Bell basically got outsmarted by the competition. He was leading for a while, but then Hamlin did a big short pit on those guys, got out in front. And then Tyler Reddick, who pitted 4 laps after Hamlin, was able to run him down and take the lead. Let me see. I feel like it was about 10 laps to go. Let me check the lap leaderboard here. Hamlin led for 35 laps, and Reddick took over at lap 258. And at that point, I'm like, oh, Reddick's going to drive away. He chased Hamlin down. Hamlin's on older tires. Reddick's got clean air now. And then there was lap traffic that kind of brought Denny Hamlin back into play. And I was kind of surprised. You know, I know Reddick was frustrated with Austin Dillon, and I was kind of surprised how Hamlin was able to get back to him. And then going into turn 3 with a handful of laps to go, Reddick goes up the track, hits the wall, and yells he was out of fuel. And it was shocking. I was watching the race with my daughter, who had gotten home at this point, and I was just like, I can't believe it, Pay. I can't believe Reddick just gave the race away. And then he was reported he was out of fuel, and they were coming around to get the white flag, and then in turn 4, right in front of the leaders, it's so funny. Denny Hamlin's coming around looking for the white flag, and there's Cody Ware spinning out on the bottom of the racetrack. Cody Ware, the slowest car all day long, went for a spin, and I know there's conspiracy theories out there, and if you're one of those conspiracy theorists, find something better to research on the internet. But let's see, he got into the wall, right? If you go back and watch Cody Ware's in-car, he kind of got into the wall, wasn't handling well, and ran out of tire, basically, and just lost control of the car, spun out, and set up a green-white checker finish. Race off of pit road, that became the big deal. I felt like whoever's going to win that race off pit road was going to have the best shot to win the race. But the restarts at Kansas are always chaotic, and this one was no exception. You had Hamlin on the bottom. Reddick was on his outside. And then in row 2, this was important. Kyle Larson lined up third on the inside, and then Christopher Bell lined up on the outside of the second row. Those were going to be your main players. Who is going to push who and who's going to jump out of line? Green flag comes out, and immediately Kyle Larson dives down on the inside, gets to the inside of Hamlin. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick, who's, outside of the front row, I thought Reddick was going to take full advantage of those guys being side by side, rip the top, and go around the outside and be leading off turn number 2. But Reddick left his right side vulnerable to Christopher Bell, who came from the second row and got to the outside of Tyler Reddick. And as Bell's going around, Larson is way down on the bottom of the race, or basically 4 wide for the lead in turn 2, coming off turn number 2 on the restart. And Bell's way up high, but Hamlin and Reddick kind of come together in the middle of the track. Reddick's car pushes up. It did that thing. You remember it happened to Ross Chastain at Pocono. It was what Denny did to Chase Elliott at Charlotte a few years ago. The car just gets, or Hamlin did it to Larson too. You get to somebody's inside and just the way the pressures are on the car, it pushes the car on the outside way high, and that kind of happened to Reddick. You can see him just kind of get tight, lose control of the car, drift up the racetrack, and he caught Christopher Bell, who bounces off the turn 2 wall, comes down the racetrack. Somehow it doesn't wreck. Somehow it doesn't take out Denny Hamlin in the process. Meanwhile, all this is happening. There's that scramble, and Kyle Larson is away with the lead. And I look at Peyton again and say, Kyle Larson's going to steal this race, Peyton. I cannot believe it, because we're not. You guys know, if you've been listening to the podcast or you know me for a long time, it doesn't bother me anymore, but we're not big Kyle Larson fans. But I don't know how it happened. It's like Reddick hit another gear, and that makes it sound conspiracy theory-ish, but Reddick got a launch down the back straightaway and caught Kyle Larson coming off turn number 4, coming to the white flag. So Larson leads to the white flag, but Reddick's got a huge head of steam, gets to the inside of Kyle Larson through 1 and 2, and then down the back straightaway, they battle side by side. They're side drafting one another. They get into turn 3, and Tyler Reddick on the bottom of the racetrack just zooms around Kyle Larson, clear high in turn 4, and to the checkers. Tyler Reddick comes off turn number 4, somehow wins his 5th race of the season. We're 9 races in, mind you, and gets another last lap pass for the win, which he got one at Daytona. Let's just recap Reddick's season. Last lap, chaos to win Daytona. Takes advantage of the late restart at Atlanta to win that one. Led the final 2 laps. Dominated Coda. Dominated Darlington. And then today, looks like he's out of it on the restart, but he comes out of nowhere. He looked a lot like he did at Homestead that year. He zoomed around Blaney on the outside, coming to the checkers. Pretty incredible stuff. You've heard me talk about people. I get sick of people winning, but some people, it's kind of like Connor Zilic last year. I enjoyed that. I'm enjoying Tyler Reddick. I mean, I don't want him to win like 15 races this year. I want to see some other people. And I think with winning, like I'm gonna say this, with winning in not being a thing, this kind of makes it easier to see those big win totals at the beginning. It's not like killing my drive for the playoffs and all this stuff. It's Reddick is doing amazing things right now, and I'm appreciating it. So thought Larson was going to get one, thought Hamlin was going to get it, and then for Reddick to come out of nowhere and take it away from those guys, I'm happy with that. The stat that I looked at earlier that I was alluding to, Tyler Reddick has 4 poles this year, and he's won 4 of those races. The only non-pole, and one of the poles was Atlanta, set by points. The only non-pole win that he had was Daytona. So what an incredible year. For a guy who won nothing last year, he's now got 5. So he's just making up. We probably expect him to win, 3 or 4 races last year. So he's just making up for it. He's going to split the wins between this year and last year. So Tyler Reddick, man, an incredible season. He's got a 105-point lead right now in the points. Let's give you the top 10 finishers here, give you some notables, and we'll go check out the 16. Then we'll check out the Racing with Ryan Podcast Fantasy League as well. Then we'll get out of here. Like I said, guys, this is a quick show this week. I was hoping to have a little bit more for you, but the stars just did not align. So again, Tyler Reddick, your winner. Kyle Larson did finish in second. Chase Briscoe was third. Denny Hamlin did hold on to finish fourth. Bubba Wallace had a good restart there to finish in fifth. Brad Keselowski holding down the fort for RFK, finished sixth. Seventh was William Byron. Eighth for Chase Elliott. Ninth for Ty Gibbs. Chris Buescher was 10th. Ryan Preece, another good run in 11th. Austin Cindric had a good run for Penske, the only Penske car to really do anything on the day. He was 12th. Carson Hocevar, 13th. He had a good run going, but his pit crew kind of Ryan Blaney'd him, let him down 3 different times. He had to settle for 13th. Shout out to Riley Herbst in 14th, and a shout out to Corey Hyman 15th. Really good runs. All the 23 XI cars, all 4 of them this week inside the top 15. Other notables, Alex Bowman, 18th, finally got to finish a race this year and got his first top 20 of the season. Again, missing a few races after being out with vertigo. Christopher Bell, 20th, hit the wall there on that restart and spun out, coming to the white flag, finished in 20th place, 1 lap down. Ryan Blaney struggled. He made contact with A.J. Allmendinger on one of the pit cycles. He finished back in 24th. Ross Chastain continues to struggle. He was 26th. Connor Zilic. Boy, I'm starting to get worried about Zilic. He was 29th. All the Trackhouse cars did terrible. Joey Logano on pure speed was a few laps down in the 30th spot. A.J. Allmendinger, again, involved in that pit road caution, lost a few laps there, could never really get it back. He finished back in 31st. Kyle Busch. The nightmare season continues. He finished 35th. Shane Van Gisbergen, 36th. Much like his struggles in Las Vegas, they come back to haunt him here in Kansas. So did that cost him in the points? Let's go find out. Bring up the standings for the NASCAR Cup Series. Again, the top 16 make the chase for the championship this year for the final 10 races. And as we mentioned, it is Tyler Reddick who holds down a 105-point lead. Sitting back in the second position now, moving up 1 spot, is Denny Hamlin after that good run. Again, he's 105 points back, though. Ryan Blaney drops 1 spot with his miserable day, back down to third, 120 points out. Ty Gibbs remains in fourth. Kyle Larson continues to climb the leaderboard as he leapfrogs his teammate. Larson is fifth. Sixth now for Chase Elliott, who drops 1 with a mediocre day. But again, Kyle Larson breaks the winner's top 5. Larson is the highest non-winner, leapfrogging Elliott there. William Byron, their Hendrick teammate, is 7th in the points. Bubba Wallace remains in 8th in the standings. Much needed good run there for Bubba. Brad Keselowski picks up 2 spots. NASCAR finally has all this right this week, which is nice. Makes this segment a little smoother. Brad Keselowski, 9th in points, jumping up 2 spots. Having a very solid season off that big leg injury that he had in the offseason where he broke his leg on a ski trip. Christopher Bell drops 1 spot down to 10th. Bell, one of those guys you might expect up in the top 5 at this point in the season. He's 196 points out of the lead. And let's see, 76 points out of third. So he's got work to do. Chris Buescher, despite a top 10 run, drops a spot in the standings because his teammate Brad Keselowski leapfrogged him. On the contrary, though, Carson Hocevar, despite not getting the finish he should have had, jumps up 1 spot to 12th in the points. Also jumping up a spot this week is Ryan Preece, who's 13th in the standings. And that's all because Joey Logano drops 2 spots back to 14th. And you could say he's perhaps the biggest loser. We're getting to the point of the season where the drops, the pluses and minuses are not as drastic as they were over the past several weeks. So Logano, the big loser this week. I'd say Keselowski's the big winner as far as inside the top 10 goes. This next driver, also a big winner, Chase Briscoe, up 2 spots. He is finally into the chase for the first time this season. It's been a decent year, but a slow start to the season. If you remember last year, Briscoe, his first year in the 19 car, got off to a slow start, but kind of, he picked it up as the weeks went on. Daniel Suarez drops 1 spot. He is now 16th and on the bubble. He is up 13 points. 13 points now on Austin Cindric in the 2 car, who continues to improve. He got off to a slow start this year. Now he's only a few spots out. The big loser this week, though, as far as dropping out of the chase, is Shane Van Gisbergen. Another sub-30th place finish. Other than his hiccup at Las Vegas, he started the year very, very strong. But this is yet another bad race after Bristol, and it's starting to catch up to him. So Van Gisbergen now down to 18th. He is, let's see, let's do some math here. 2 is 20, just carry that number. That is 32 points that he needs to gain now on 16th place. So Van Gisbergen has a lot of work to do. Michael McDowell, 19th, and Ross Chastain, despite another mediocre run, sits 20th in the standings, but again, he's got a lot of work to do. Chastain needs to gain, 40, 50, 46 points on Daniel Suarez, his former teammate, to get in the chase here. So he's got a lot of work to do. AJ Allmendinger also lost a spot down to 21st. So he continues to slide through the standings. So who's in the danger zone? Who am I really worried about at this point? Well, there's 3 drivers that I'm very worried about that I thought could be chase caliber type drivers this year. We'll start with Josh Berry in the 21. Obviously, I feel like if Josh were going to slip in, he'd be like, 16th to 14th. He's 26th in points, only 2 top 10s on the season. It's been a struggle. And of course, Kyle Busch. He's been in the news lately. Denny Hamlin was very honest in his delivery on his podcast about Kyle Busch and how don't expect Kyle Busch to contend right now. And it's not a talent thing. It's a car and a team issue. And Kyle Busch still has it, but also Denny kind of said, well, he could carry himself a little bit better. And, now Austin Dillon is ahead of Kyle Busch in points. Austin Dillon has 2 top 10s this year. Kyle Busch has 1. So there's some truth to that, I believe. And Kyle Busch, I don't know if a better situation can help him. I feel like Kyle Busch is still a driver that can win. I don't think he's going to be a championship contender again in his career. I think he's such a head case sometimes that unless you put him in a Hendrick car or a Gibbs car, which he's already burned both, he's been there. He started at Hendrick, left for Gibbs, and then he left for Gibbs. He left Gibbs for RCR. I just don't see him ever going back there. I feel like, just the way that his career's played out, I don't think that his main focus is cup racing anymore. I posted this on Reddit a few weeks ago, and people agree with me that I think he's got his head so into his kid's career that his cup driving is taking kind of a back seat. So I would not be surprised if before Kyle Busch retires, he gets another handful of wins. And they may be, listen, he's run really well at Talladega and Daytona and Atlanta. Been very close to a couple of more wins. They just haven't happened. But remember, his win at Talladega in the 8 car, very lucky. People crash in front of him on the last lap. He comes out the winner. That could still happen. He runs very well on the plate tracks. RCR needs a big turnaround. I don't know that it's going to happen this year especially. So Busch, definitely worried about him. I don't think he's going to make it at this point. Of course, Connor Zilisch, we've been talking about him. He was supposed to be kind of the rookie phenom. Just really struggled. The one good run at COTA, and that's really it for Zilisch. He's been on the back half of the field for much of the season. He doesn't even have 100 points yet, guys. He's only got 92 points on the season. 16th for comparison has 210. Yikes. Connor Zilisch, he's going to need to win all the road course races if we're going to be talking about him for the playoffs. And Alex Bowman, of course, he missed 4 races, hasn't finished but 1 race all year. So just going to need a lot of help there. And, man, it's just, it's tough. It's tough. And I've been looking at DNFs and not top 10s in the NASCAR thing. Kyle Busch doesn't have any top 10s, nor does Austin Dillon. I was looking at DNFs there. Austin Dillon has 2, Kyle Busch has 1. So throw those stats from earlier out the window. I do apologize there. Made a mistake. But that's what I get for getting the columns wrong. So there's a look at the 16 and who's in the danger zone. And man, I just think some of those guys in the back, they're cooked. You know, a win can't save them this year. But boy, I'll tell you, the wins are keeping Tyler Reddick as the main championship threat right now, I would believe. Obviously, there'll be that reset at the final 10 races. But I think 105 points and beating Tyler Reddick is going to be tough. And Reddick, if he does win the regular season championship, he'll have a 25-point lead on the field going into the playoffs. All right, with that said, let's check the Racing with Ryan podcast fantasy standings here. Let's see how we all did. I did pick Chris Buescher in my 36 for 36, so I got another top 10 there. But let's check the fantasy live. Let me hit play now. Let me pull this up. Let's take a look at the league here. Still struggling. I'm still struggling. All right, Kansas. How do we all do at the Kansas Speedway? 8-Ball Racing picked up the win this week with 275 over Cole Trickle. Bob's Fords was third. Bob's Trackhouse was in the, third position? Fourth position, sorry. I changed screens for a second. Zach's Dodge, fifth. Hey, I rebounded a little bit. I was sixth this week with 249 points. Everybody else was right on my tail, though. My goodness. I think a lot of us had the same team, and maybe it was the bonus points that separated us. Bomber 93 was seventh, eighth for Staffordshire Motorsports, ninth for Richie Petty and Tyler Vickery. Rounding out our top 10. Let's check the overall standings here, and then I'll give you predictions for Talladega. And we'll talk Talladega here real quick, and then we'll get the heck on out of here. Hobbs Trackhouse continuing to lead the standings by 54 points over second place Cole Trickle Jr. Bob's Fords is third. Bomber 93 is fourth, fifth for 8-Ball Racing. And I'm stuck back in the ninth position, so I've got work to do. It's been a tough season for me in Fantasy League, but that's okay. So this week, Talladega, this is a week where you could take some risks, It's not going to let me play with my team right now because I haven't put the stuff in for Talladega. But, the Penske cars are going to be good. But look back at Daytona, how unpredictable that was. And NASCAR has changed the stage lengths. Like the first stage is going to be like 90 laps or something. And then the other stages are going to be 45 laps. So what they've done is they've taken the fuel mileage out of the final two stages. And the idea is they want them to run full on for the last stage. They don't want them to be saving fuel. They don't want them. So what you're going to see, in my opinion, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I think we're going to see a lot of fuel savings early, a lot of artificial three-wide racing, pack racing. People are saving. They're going to want to position themselves for that end of stage 2 and to get off of pit road up in the first couple of rows, because I think we're going to see very minimal shuffling over that final 40-lap run, because with the stages, the stage is only going to go about 38 laps. So it's going to be whoever can get off pit road first. You're going to see strategy. It's just going to look different. You're going to see a lot of saving early. I think the first 3/4 of the race are going to be rather uneventful. It's going to be another slow burn type of race. It's Talladega, so you're going to want to watch to the end. But honestly, this might be a race where you can tune in the final stage and not feel like you missed much. I'm not a big fan of it. I liked the strategy that came with a longer final stage, because I don't care if they save for the first half of the stage. I don't need them all to wreck on, lap 100. Let them all say, I loved the pit strategy and watching the field form back up and watching those lines come back together and see who cycles out. Now, we're not going to see all that. It's going to happen under caution, and then we're going to be gridlocked 2 by 2. I would imagine. We may see some shuffling. The drivers might realize, okay, there's no holding back. There's no waiting, so we're going to have to push and shove and root and gouge a little bit more. So maybe I'm going to be wrong on this. We'll just see what the mentality is going to be of the drivers. We'll see how the racing is going to be. In my opinion, the racing at Talladega with a new car has been awful, to say the least. So I'm not too optimistic, but course, I'm going to watch it. Probably not live, but I'll probably come home Sunday evening, put it on, and that's how I end my weekend. And see how it goes. Those are my thoughts. But honestly, for setting a fantasy roster at Talladega, I mean, Austin Cindric, I think, is a guy that you can use. You can look maybe, guys like Todd Gilliland. You might even be okay playing Kyle Busch this week. He's been good at the plate tracks, and he's not a guy you're going to use anywhere else. So, if you're looking at your rosters and like, man, I've used Denny Hamlin 6 times already, or I used Kyle Larson 5 times already. This is one of the weeks where, and they might run well, but this is a week you can put them on the shelf and not worry about it too much. You can take a chance on some of those back marker guys. Take a chance on I think Corey Haim's in the field. You could take a chance on him. You could play a Daniel Suarez. You can play a Carson Hocevar, a Michael McDowell, a Noah Gragson. It might backfire on you, but you might be able to do it. So that's kind of my theory and suggestion, and I don't know. Maybe you just play Tyler Reddick because he's going to win again, right? So we'll see how it all goes. Talladega coming up this week. We'll talk about it next week along with the Orange Blossom 100 event. Definitely looking forward to that with the David Rogers Super Late models for the first time in the regular season, the Ashley Holmes Jacks Pro Trucks, the Bomber A's, Ground Pounders, and Super Stocks. That is all coming up this Saturday. We will cover it all on next week's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Another, we've had a lot of these kind of quicker NASCAR-heavy shows lately, but appreciate you all sticking around. Appreciate our great sponsors, Paramount Medical Billing, Splish and Splash Swim Program, F&F Racing, Dual Lawn and Tree, and Ken Copley. Thank you guys for supporting the show, and thank you all so much for listening. There's a lot of great short track racing coming up this weekend, so get out to your favorite or local short tracks and support them because they need your butts in those seats, not sitting at home watching on TV. So make sure you get out there, support when and where you can, and watch some great short track racing. And we'll come back next week to talk all about it. So with that said, y'all take care. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next week from Vermont.